Hello and welcome to another episode of the Pumas podcast, Mukbang Mondays, back on Monday nights for the first time in a few weeks. I am your host, Cooper Martin, alongside me, James Dimopoulos. James, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Very good, thank you. We have three guests tonight in the Mukbang Mondays car with us. Different car, in fact, his car instead of mine. His car, obviously his work car, who are a sponsor bringing this episode to us. Roberto Antonelli, how are you, mate?
Good.
Good. Who's bringing this podcast to us tonight, mate?
Festival City Wines at KFC Martin, fellas.
Festival City Wines at KFC Martin. There we go. Our other thank you, Robbie. Our other guest for tonight, Corey Mantikos, the first team right back. How are you, mate?
Any better, I'd be dangerous, mate.
Any better, he'd be dangerous. There you go. Heard it here first. Scripted as they come. Finn Marshall, the first team striker now. How are you, mate?
Yeah, mate, I'm good, thanks.
Got your first goal on the weekend.
Yeah, in the A's, yeah.
Yeah, about time.
Felt good.
In the A's. Not forgetting that cup run in the B's.
Yeah.
Against people well below your standard.
Well, thanks for that.
No worries. Moving on. In tonight's podcast, we'll be discussing two games. James, who did we play in those two games?
We played Elizabeth Grove this past weekend, and a couple of weeks before that, we played Flinders University.
Very good, James. Great memory there, buddy. And the last time we recorded a podcast, how many points did we have, James?
I don't think we had any, mate.
We didn't have any. And Robbie, how many points do we have now?
6.
6?
So,
2 wins in 2 games, boys. How good's that?
how good's footy?
How good is footy, Corey? The Pumas are roaring again.
Woohoo, you beauty.
Nick Levithius back in the first team, has his thunder and lightning, smashing back down on Puma Park. The Greek got in Valley View. How good.
How good, fellas.
All right, so we'll start with
Go,
Flinders
Nick.
Uni. James and myself weren't present at the Flinders Uni game, unfortunately. Had other prior commitments. I can't remember why you weren't there, James.
Why weren't you there?
I wasn't there. I was on a wine tour that day.
I was sitting by my best mate's bedside in hospital.
That's correct. You were with Jai in hospital, and you had a very special moment where you FaceTimed Nathaniel DeMarco and let Jai watch the boys sing the song from his hospital bed at Flinders.
Yeah, I did actually. A little bit disappointed at Nat's efforts though. Did ask him to get in the middle of the huddle. But he just took it upon himself to go and stand on one of the ledges in the back, so we didn't really have much of a view apart from Louis' arse.
So like Nathaniel DeMarco's groin just letting down the Pumas since
Absolutely.
1943.
Yep.
There we go. So Flinders Uni game, Rob, you got minutes in the first team that day, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Came off the bench.
Came off the bench, got yourself an assist as well, so I've heard.
Beauty, Rob.
Yeah, so
Yep.
special moment.
Special
Give
moment.
a ball.
Put a ball on who else's head but Kevin 07, Kieran Evans.
I think Corey got a bit jealous
and
that
that-
Rob put his
yeah.
balls on Kevin's head.
I did.
And that was the sealer for the day. We put 3+ Flinders Uni that day. Who scored the first 2, boys? It was Marcus DeMarco Brace, if I'm not
2 for
mistaken.
Marcus.
Very good. Any comments from you three about that game, the way it went, Rob?
It was a big step up from previous games. The boys fought hard and actually pressed as a team and communicated well as a team, and that's why we got the result that we wanted.
Bit more of a cohesive unit than usual.
Yeah,
Of course.
dominated throughout.
Dominated throughout, Finn.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, reckon we were always on top of them.
Yeah.
Didn't give them a chance.
From the get-go.
Maybe that's little periods of games that we've let other teams back into in the past that have cost us 3 points, like Sterling District, perhaps, Murray
Yeah, for
Bridge,
sure.
the first time we played them. Maybe even Fizzy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corey, thoughts on the Flinders Uni game, mate?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, yeah, there was no travellers that
Thanks,
week.
Corey. So that's Flinders Uni. First 3 points on the board. We sat still bottom of the table, 1 point behind Elizabeth Grove and 3 points behind Sterling District. Only 1 spot deep in the relegation zone. And at that point, it was probably our goal difference hurting us still then. As it might still be now, but how many points do we have after the game against Elizabeth Grove? 6. So another win. Another good win as well. 2-1, much closer game, much tighter affair. Away to Elizabeth Grove. Win down there is always a good result. On their home turf, we had a difficult day with the linesman who loved to put his flag up.
That was odd. Yeah, that was odd.
Very
was
trigger happy.
Yeah, he was a bit trigger happy. I think he cost Finn a hat-trick, to be honest, on the weekend.
Yeah.
Although if he could
We'll say that.
smack an open goal with his left foot from six yards out, he would have had 2. But you got the scoring open on the weekend, Finn.
Yeah, mate. For our team.
Do you want to describe
The
your goal?
equaliser.
The equaliser. So 1-0 down. We dominated the game. We conceded a very scrappy goal. I think if Lawrence Chan had his time again, we might not have been 1-0 down. But mistakes happen, and geez, did Lawrence rectify that mistake with a few massive tackles late in the game. One that comes to mind especially, last man slide tackle. I usually crucify Lawrence for for not staying on his feet enough. But in this instance, he pulled off a really good tackle. Anyway, a few little errors. Goalmouth scramble, couldn't keep it out. 1-0 down. Finn, you managed to grab an equaliser. Do you want to walk us and talk us through your goal?
Yeah, well, so I got the ball in the box to feet, back to goal, and I figured I had room behind me. There was no defenders right on me, so I turned and got past a couple of defenders and slotted it near post, and proceeded to run to the Pumas supporters with the finger up. Feels good.
How good?
How
The
good.
feeling of a goal for the Pumas. Your first A-grade goal for the Adelaide Pumas. Well done, mate.
Yeah, a long time coming.
Congratulations. It has been a long time coming.
Woohoo, you beauty.
Woohoo, you beauty. All right, second goal. Bit later in the game, probably 10, 15 minutes left, would you say?
Maybe 20.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit longer than that.
Around the 20 mark.
Yeah, I'd say about 15-20.
Now, it was Noel Armstrong got through on goal. Not sure
What a
how he ended
fucking
up
finish.
through on goal. Who was it? A ball through played
Yeah,
by someone?
through ball.
Through ball by who?
I'm not too sure.
Not too sure. Probably come out of the midfield.
Yeah.
Perhaps Shane Winter. Someone of that sort. Who knows?
I think Noel took it himself.
I'm sure someone will. There we go. Could have been Noel
I
taking
wouldn't
himself.
rule out Matt Willisey because he's a star.
I wouldn't roll out Matt Willis either. You never can with that bloke, can you? He's more ever present than Corey is in my
Anyway.
car. Anyway, moving on. So Noel's
He
gone.
just flicked that into the top corner.
Noel's gone through. He has flicked it into the top corner, but I must admit, Rob, James, and I were sitting down the far end of the ground at that point, getting a different angle, you could say, on the game from where we were sitting. From where we were sitting on the weekend, where Rob, James, and I were positioned when Noel scored this goal, he had 1-on-1 with the keeper, but as a team, as a cohesive unit, we were 2-on-1 with the keeper. He had Moz alongside him, and I mean, if I was in the position, I probably would have sweat to Moz, played the ball across the face, guaranteed the goal, but, you know, Noel took it upon himself, and he just flicked one right into the top corner, as Corey said. Excellent finish, great composure, put us 2-1 up, and eventually that's what ended up winning us the game. I also said to Finn on the way home, I would have played the ball across to Moz, but with the trigger-happy linesman and perhaps the referee who went with the linesman a few too many times, if he had played that ball to Moz, it might have cost us second goal in that game. So eventually 2-1 winners. We defended, after Noel's goal, 2-1 up, we defended probably out of our skin, really.
Yeah.
Matt Willisey put his body on the line a few times, Lawrence Chan, Darren Montagneur rectifying his mistakes in the B grade with a few good performances in the A grade at centre-back. They're becoming a dynamic little partnership at centre-back, the two small centre-backs, Darren Montagneur and Lawrence Chan. To be
We're
honest,
playing better with smaller centre backs.
yeah, it's just unfortunate we didn't have any quality small centre-back options earlier in the year.
And I also agree with. I'm going to disagree with you passing that ball to Moz. I thought Noel was on fire that game, so I'm glad he took it upon himself to.
Sometimes I just think it's
Hold
that those players with that little bit more arrogance and a little bit more confidence that.
I just thought Moz had a good game, but he was a lot quieter than usual.
Yeah, and Mr. Consistent was a little bit quieter than usual, but he wasn't bad, was he? Corey's
Not
looking
at all.
at
He
me like
never is.
Corey's looking at me like he's got some thoughts. Corey, what do you think about
Did
the
you say that the
performance against
best
Elizabeth
movement
Grove?
of the year was putting Noel in centre mid?
I honestly think the best move of the year was putting Noel in the first team.
Was he in the Bs?
At the start of the year,
I
Noel
think
was
the best move of the
firmly
year
in
was
the
putting
Bs.
Matt
and
Willisey in the first team.
Another great move. I mean, two B graders who, when they were playing in the B grade, I never would have considered them first teamers.
Well, I mean, Matt Willisey, when he's going in for a decent tackle or he's getting that ball off,
He can put a fantastic ball into
no
it.
one's yelling out Matt or no one's yelling out Willisey anymore. They're yelling out best and fairest.
They are. You can hear it in the crowd. It's like Derek Rose shooting free throws. MVP, MVP. Chills down Corey's spine there.
So we'll move on and
on?
let's talk about that B game as well.
B game, yeah, rough day at the office for the Bees.
I think it was a little bit more than rough. A team that they beat 9-0 first time around comes back and beats them 5-2.
Yeah.
I don't think science can explain that.
I'll tell you one thing. Rob can justify this as well. In the huddle at the start of the game, I won't mention who it was, but someone in the huddle before a game, when we were supposedly having our team talk, made a comment, perhaps instead of about not getting the 3 points, but in fact boosting our goal difference. It was a conversation in the huddle pre-game. The conversation was boosting our goal difference, and then we conceded 4 in the first 10 minutes. Didn't kick off as well as we would have liked it to, did it, Rob?
Yeah, look,
Of course not.
I think
Thanks, Rob.
that there was an issue there from the first 5 minutes, and that was with the two centre-backs. I think there was a really big issue, and I don't know why that even after conceding the second goal,
I mean, let's talk about the goals.
Why there was no changes there.
Yeah, let's talk about the goals in justice to that. First
Okay,
goal.
Scott got on the end of
Yeah.
two.
No,
pretty-
not our goals, rather. Scott Winter did get on the end of 2 chances for us and put them away, but the goals we conceded, we'll go through those in the Bs. The first goal we conceded, corner, come in, above the penalty spot, not dealt with, probably bobbled around in the box 5 or 6 times for about 10 seconds, and then their striker managed to somehow have space enough to turn in the box and put it into the bottom corner.
Bad defending.
Just all the time and space in the world. Shocking defending. Ball should have been cleared. Lack of communication. Not sure what was going on there. Second goal was the first sign of perhaps the centre-back pairing not working. It was a ball played directly, just a hit and hope that somehow went directly through the middle of our 2 centre-backs, and it was a one-on-one just put easily past me. Not a lot I could do about it.
Well, I mean, you got 2 of the strongest and tallest blokes in the league, you could argue. And
Sam and Brett.
they were just letting those balls go over their heads way too easily. They weren't reading the ball. Their timing was off. There was no pace on them on Saturday, and it really showed.
Perhaps it was a partnership that just didn't work. No speed between the pair of them. No natural leg speed anyway.
What did you guys do for a pre-game?
Just probably not something that
They warmed up.
worked, to be honest. Yeah, just a normal warm-up. It was...
Well, I don't know, but from the
You know,
sideline,
no
it looked
different-
like no one was ready.
I think
they were ready.
I think
They
a lot of
looked ready.
people went into that game physically ready, but mentally they thought we were going to put 9 past
That's
them again,
exactly
and that
what
was our
happened.
biggest problem. The third goal we conceded was another one-on-one. A ball came through the middle of the 2 centre-backs again.
Likewise, the same
And
as previous goals.
Exactly the same
Just
as
a
the second goal.
reoccurrence of the same goal, really.
Centre backs.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't pair Alfredo sauce with a packet of noodles, so why would you put 2 tall?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean,
Yeah.
It just didn't
Lack
seem
of-
to
that
work
lack of
together.
pace.
Lack of pace. Fourth goal, mistake of mine. One I'll happily wear. Went back for a corner.
Scoops.
Looked to plant my feet. Looked down, saw where I was. Looked back up the ball, and like I said to Finn on the drive home from the game, when I looked back up at it, I thought to myself, I've positioned myself perfectly for this. It's landing in between my 2 hands. Ball dropped and just went straight over the top of an outstretched arm. Got nowhere near it in the end. Don't know why it hung for so long. Don't know how I misjudged it so bad, but, you know, I'll wear that one. Open header at the back post, mind you. Still my fault, didn't get to the ball. But open header at the back post, just went straight into an open goal.
Yeah, it was an absolute shit fight, but I think
Yeah, it was the fourth goal there was a shambles. Everything.
The game was lost in the first
myself,
25
defence.
minutes.
It was the first 10 minutes. We're 4-0 down after 10 minutes. Realistically, you're never coming back from that as much as
Second
we
half,
dominated them.
I mean, I just don't understand how you go from beating a team 9-0 and then losing 5-2.
All right, I'm going to throw a bone to you here. 4-0 down. We made a change. Brett went out wide, and Joe Pascale, who started at left back, moved into centre back alongside
As in
Sam.
Brett went midfield.
No, Brett went to
Left-
full back,
left
Okay.
and
To
then
be fair, should that
Joe
have been done from the
Pascale went into centre back. As Corey just said from the start, I'm unsure why Joe didn't play centre back. I felt really comfortable with the thought in my mind pre-game that I was going to have Sam and Joe in front of me because it's a good mix of height, good
Look,
strength between them.
And they've
pace
worked
for
well
Joe.
together in the
They
past
have
as
worked
well.
well together in the past. And then the biggest thing for me is not only do I think personally, obviously it's not my place to question a coach, but I think I would have preferred it to start like that from a keeping perspective. And then the other thing is I'm not sure why it took 4 goals in the first 10 minutes to make a change. It seemed to just be let happen.
No, but
like-
Brett's played on the out wide in the A grade.
I
Joe's
was-
always been the central of this.
I was asking
But-
questions at 4-0 after 10 minutes of why nothing was being changed. To me, it just, even at 2-0 after 5 minutes, you'd think it would be a snap reaction
There's certain
change.
situations.
Something has to happen
There's certain
there.
situations where, if by chance they were set pieces, then you'd probably at 2-0. You
Yeah.
could argue not changing that backline, but I mean, you don't change a backline when you're 0-0 apiece going into the second half or going into the 70th minute. So why wouldn't you change a backline when you're 5-zip down in the first 20, basically?
Yeah, but in fair, did the coach have any time? Because he was in the first 3 minutes, there was 2 goals.
Every single kickoff after a goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
At that
Sufficient
point,
time.
you're thinking,
No,
what's
but you
going
can.
on?
I'm sorry, but you could see it. You could see that the change needed to be made.
Yeah, I'm
it was
aware, but
obvious.
But it was,
Not to
Um,
mention that I don't know if you
It's
can
just a
actually.
recurring.
I don't even know if it'll change. Change if Sam and Joe were put at the back together because. But
Alright,
they
here's-
need to play a sweeper.
here's the
they
bo-
need to play
here's-
sweeper. Sweeper with a big boy.
Okay, here's the
It's
bone
fine.
off. Here's the bone I'll throw to you. Joe Pascale made the change himself on the pitch. wasn't a managerial made change.
Oh, well, that needs to be looked at.
It was going to stay the same. At 4-0 after 20, it was going to stay the same. But Joe made the change himself.
I think that was
The second
a good
one,
decision.
yeah, it was a great decision. But the second one, after Joe moved into centre back, we won the game 2-1.
Yeah, I still think.
Prior to that change,
I still
4-0
think with
down,
the talent you
full
guys
time
had, you
score
should have
5-2.
smashed them a lot
I
more.
still think that the
This-
game should have been like it wasn't just the defender's fault. Granted, 3 to 4 goals.
The slow start killed us. 4 goals in 10
3 to
minutes.
4 goals were just they were walking through the back.
4 goals in 10 minutes. The fifth goal was another one. It wasn't a one-on-one. Well, it was essentially across me, exact same as the save I made, the two-hand that I managed to hold. Exact same scenario as that, just a better finish, lower. Sam got pushed off the ball by the striker.
Yeah.
It's not something you see happen often with Sam, but it was just
quick.
yeah, he was quick, he was strong, and I think looking at him at the start of the game, I didn't pick him to be either of those things. But all credit to him. They had a midfielder as well who
Look like
he seemed to look like Finn. He did, and he seemed to have paddocks every time he had the ball, just space.
Yeah,
and
they weren't
Yeah, they weren't a good
they
team.
weren't great.
no, they weren't. And
That's why it's so
They
bad.
were good on the day.
After-
I gotta say, I do have to admit that there were
after
plays that
half,
they were putting through that were just coming off.
after half time, we were unlucky to probably not score 4 or 5. Just didn't take our chances like they did.
I don't know,
But
like
in the second half,
I don't
we
want to
had
say that because I feel like they actually dominated.
they
the
did
first half.
dominate. Yeah,
they dominated the first half, and
They
then
did.
But
the
it wasn't
se-
like the first 10. It was,
the
it was
second-
the first half.
was
yeah, it
the
was the
first
first
half.
half.
It was the
We were
whole
lucky
half.
to survive only on 4, I think, at half time. But come the second half, we had 2 or 3 goal line clearances, Rob.
Yeah.
We scored twice. Scott hit the post. John put a peach of a hit over
Where
the
was Scott
barbed wire
playing?
up front. It was Taraz and Scott up front at the
We had
start.
enough
was-
chances
it was
to
a
at least
striker.
get the draw.
We had chances to get a draw out of that game, and the biggest thing for me, I know you guys didn't see the second half of that game, but the biggest thing for me was they had one shot in the second half off target from about 35 yards. One shot in the second half. We conceded 4 goals in 10 minutes, and then only let them have. We conceded a 5th in the first half. We were 5-1 down at half time.
Oh.
I'm just going through the players again. You've got John Parletta, yourself, Coops, Sam Delanagaro, Robbie, Giuseppe, Scott, Brett,
Also missing Claudio, which is a big loss for the
I'm not
Bees.
gonna lie, John-
Halil,
Just
Alex,
slicing
Taraz, Antonio Centrella. How do you have a team like that loses 5-2?
My thing I said to Finn was Scott and Taraz up front, and then we had the midfield started as John Parletta, Tony Centrella, and Alex Troikram. And I said to Finn after the game, I just felt as if we had 5 workhorses ahead of the ball, but we had no creative quality whatsoever.
No.
And that's no offence to any of those boys. They're extremely hard workers. But when I'm talking the creative quality that usually wins games for the B grade, I'm talking Claudio De Loco.
Yeah.
Sits in that hole, the workhorses feed him, and he opens the game up. His passing range, his ability just opens the game up. And he was in Melbourne with his partner watching the Crows at the MCG. Hope you had a good trip, Claudes. Unfortunately, they didn't get the result for you, but boy, we missed you on the weekend, so don't go away anytime soon, because did we miss his creativity? I mean, you could see with John probably in the first 25 minutes, Rob, every time he got the ball, he sort of looked across his body, and
Yeah.
his bash brother
definitely lacking, yeah.
wasn't there.
He was definitely.
They work
missing.
well in sync together.
They always have, and I mean, like John said, we were taking the mick out of him before the game about Claude's not being there, and he said, yeah, it was a lonely car ride up. So you can tell the synergies there between those two, and you can tell it on the pitch as well, and we just lacked that bit of quality ahead of the ball early. We found chances with simple play, and also Alex made a point at half-time that the reason we beat them as convincingly last time we played them was because we absolutely dominated the midfield battle. Another managerial selection question. We started in a 4-4-2 instead of the 4-3-3 we started in against them last time. And in Alex's opinion, it was lacking the third midfielder when they had 3, which was the reason we got dominated in the middle. And we absolutely did. We lost the midfield battle by an absolute country mile in that first half.
Yeah.
And
It was a bad game to watch.
yeah, well,
It was a really bad
and at
game.
half-time, Taraz came off and Abdul went on in his position up front, but we dropped the 2 centre mids deeper and Abdul came into an attacking midfield role,
Yeah.
which allowed the wide midfielders to get further up the pitch and Scott up front by himself. And we had a lot of chances by finding Alex in wide positions, playing balls in, and Scott played really well up front by himself.
Yeah, it was a game that whoever won the midfield of the day would basically win the game, and it just proved.
All right, boys. On the B grade from the weekend, Pumas podcast B grade player of the year, 3-2-1s. We'll start with Corey.
Right, sorry. Fuck yeah. From all I saw in the first half, I'd say an easy 3 points goes to Rob. Mate, you played phenomenal out there.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate that.
Look, from there, I can't give it to any more defenders from what I saw. I'd say John looked to create, so I'll give him the 2. And then I reckon Taraz's work rate, but he only came off
Half-time.
Yeah, half-time, so that from what all I saw, that's my 3-2-1s.
All right, cool, James. 3-2-1s on the weekend.
I'll probably go Scott 3 points. I think because of his 2 goals, and I mean you don't have to watch him to know that he's put in.
So pure work rate.
I'd definitely go Scott 3 points. 2 points easily went to Rob. He was definitely the spark that they were looking for within the first 10-15 minutes. He was all over the ball, and pretty much he was the only Pumas player you could actually keep your eyes on in that first 20. So Rob with the 2 and Johnny with the 1. I think even without Claudio, he's actually proving that he can do this on his own, even though we'd hope that he'd always have Claudio by his side, but he's shown that he can be a talented midfielder on his own, and I'm sure there's going to be other opportunities where Claudio may not be able to make a game, or if they're in different grades together. I think he'll be able to be menacing in that solo role.
Very good. Finn, 3-2-1s.
I'd have to give the 3 votes to Scotty for the 2 goals. 2 would go to Roberto. I think he had the best half out of any Pumas player. And 1 vote to Joe Pascali, because I think that change, putting him centre back, changed the game really. I reckon if we didn't do that, we would have conceded a lot more. So yeah, 1 to
Thanks,
Joe.
Finn. 3-2-1s for yourself, Rob. Obviously can't give yourself votes as much as you'd like to.
Yeah, of course. Played out of my skin for the first time. As James and Finn said, 3 points to Scotty. Yeah, 2 goals. Can't argue with that. 2 points, I would suggest that you'll go to Joe. Joe making the change to go to centre back was the right decision, I thought. And 1 point to John in the second half. He really stepped it up, and his work rate was there when we needed it.
Awesome, Rob. Cheers. My 3-2-1s myself. I'm going to start with 3 votes. Robbie Antonelli. Thought you were the best player on the pitch. I think especially when Alex went wide right in that second half, you 2 linked up really well. Got ahead of the ball a fair bit. Well done, mate. 2 votes myself. I'm going to give to Joe Pascale. I just felt once Joe went into that centre-back role, I was 100 times more comfortable in goal than I was prior to it. So he had a massive impact on the way I saw the game. And 1 vote to Scott Winter for 2 goals and excellent work rate as always.
I just don't understand why you put Sam and Brett centre-back at the same time.
And Joe left-back. That was a question that I think Joe was asking. I don't think he's ever played left-back in his life.
Actually, legitimately, probably 2 of the slowest players. Both in pivotal defending roles.
But they both play the same game as well, which doesn't compliment.
Yeah, just was a very one-dimensional centre-back pairing.
There was no aerial presence from them either.
Yeah, well, there you go, guys. That's your Pumas B-grade Pumas podcast player of the year, 3-2-1s from the guys tonight. And now we'll go into, we've already discussed in a little bit of depth the A-grade game. James, do you have any comments on the first team game against Flinders Uni?
Flinders.
Sorry, not Flinders Uni, rather. Elizabeth Grove.
Yeah, look, I think that it seems to me as though that the wins that we're getting, the 3 points that we're picking up, is just coming from pure grunt. I think the fact that we're actually able to stay within the game defensively is helping us out a lot, because the movement, in my opinion, isn't up to the standard that we'd hope or we'd like, but it's obviously up there because we're getting 3 points in the last 2 weeks, or last 2 games, should I say. But I think that the pure heart and going into challenges 100%, not pulling out, winning that aerial battle, and keeping it just simple into the feet, I think that's getting us over the line. So I think, even saying that, as the weeks go on, we're just going to get stronger in that sense, and eventually, hopefully where it counts, which is probably these next few games, we're able to get some points from and able to reach our standard that we've been hoping for.
The biggest thing for me this coming weekend against MA Hawks is we're playing arguably alongside Fizzy the best team in the competition at home. So, you know, on form and on momentum, you can't write the boys off, but it's going to be an extremely tough ask to take points off Hawks. But the biggest thing for me, and more of a worry than points this weekend, is if the boys do go down with 2 weeks off and then a massive, massive game, virtually that decides relegation against Stirling District at home after that game, is that if the boys do drop points this weekend against MA Hawks, how important is it for them to remain positive and still thrive off the 6 points we picked up in the last couple of weeks, and also thrive off, you know, the enjoyment I'm sure we'll get out of what will be a fantastic day on August 17th at Thomas Turner Reserve for Jai Tatani's testimonial match, because the boys need to take positivity and momentum every little bit they can get into this massive match coming up against Stirling District in a month.
Yeah, look, I think that it's not about how much we're going to lose by when it comes to MA Hawks. I think it's more so about whether we want it or not. I think that we can easily get a point off of them, and if we play like we have been in the past couple of weeks, we're definitely able to beat them. They did beat us on their ground, in my opinion, pretty convincingly. But I think this next time around, knowing full well the capability of some of the MA Hawks players, I think we'll be able to, you know, first 10, 15, slow that pace down and really start to get on the end of, you know, our own game.
Yeah, absolutely. For me personally as well, MA Hawks will know this weekend that it won't just be a rollover and die job from the Pumas. They're going to be there to fight and hopefully take points off them. And
the captain's been to our last 4 games.
Yeah, he has. Their captain's been watching us very closely, James Caraba. We know he's got history with the club. And, you know, it's going to be a very interesting weekend. A few ex-Pumas players, in fact.
It's going to be a big
and there's going to be a blood battle on the pitch. A right back against a striker, a Manticos against a Manticos. How do you feel about that, Corey?
I can't wait.
You can't wait.
Look, I thought when I was going to be in the same pitch as him, he'd be in the same jersey.
You thought he'd be in blue and white.
But he's not.
But he doesn't bleed it, does he?
He doesn't bleed blue.
And that's unfortunate because we all thought he was a good bloke, but he's just let us down a bit lately, hasn't he?
You're not wrong.
And he'll see us on Thomas Turner Reserve for what I'm sure will be a nice little
Ain't you, we'll get a sick day
bumpy, unprepared pitch for his wobbly knees.
Yeah,
Congratulations on the house, Brody. Congratulations on the house.
It's the only thing we'll be getting. A woohoo, you beauty, for Brody in his new apartment. Anyway, that's all our comments on the first team game of the weekend. We're going to go to the Pumas A-grade Pumas podcast player of the year 3-2-1 votes tonight. We'll start with Corey Manticos again. Your 3-2-1s from the first team game on the weekend. We did speak about the A-grade before.
Oh, before, yeah, that's right. Yeah. 3 points? Probably Noel. I reckon he just led the midfield.
Tell you what, Noel Armstrong's become a real dark horse for player of the year this season, hasn't he?
He's getting better and better.
He's picking up votes, and he's getting better.
Right, number 2, I'm going to say, I think the whole defence had a pretty strong effort out there. But Darren, I reckon, is playing phenomenal in the A grade. I reckon he's been phenomenal out there.
Is that Monsignor?
That is. Wait, can you pronounce it one more time?
Monsignor?
That is 6.
I'll tell you what he is playing. He's played 2 really good games in the first team, hasn't he, now?
He's really rectified those earlier games.
He's gone and collected that ball he put in West Beach from the penalty, and he's driven all the way back to Valley View and started to put in some good performances. So
I reckon I've never seen someone more calm on the ball, and he always says like he's lacking pace and stuff, but he makes up with it with his talent. 1 point, yeah, I'd probably give it to Marcus. He's always a threat down there. Oh fuck, Finn. Oh, that's tough.
Don't fuck me.
You've said it now. 1 point, Marcus to Marco.
Yeah, I'll give it to Marcus.
Finn's spewing. Means nothing. He's not winning anything anyway.
Yeah. Well, besides the one brilliant solo goal from Finn, that was phenomenal play from Marcus throughout the game until he came off with an injury, I believe.
James, 3-2-1s.
Yeah, 3 points, Noel.
Now.
He's done it again. Brilliant effort by Nolsey. And he's starting to get more aggressive as the weeks go on, and that's what I like to see. I like to see a bit of aggression and passion in a play, and I'm really getting that from Nosey. 2 points, can't go past Matt Willisey. Again, I thought just another stellar performance. And you know what? When he's quiet, well, isn't that a good day as a defender? When you're quiet as a defender, it really means to me that things are going right on your side of things. So good on you, Matt. That's another 2 points for you, buddy. And 1 point, I've gone Lawrence Chan. He's back.
He's back.
That's all I'm going to say.
All right, Finn Marshall, 3-2-1s. Bearing in mind, even though you probably didn't deserve any, you can't give yourself votes.
Yeah, well, go 3 votes to Noah Armstrong. I think he played really well in the midfield. Got his goal. Brilliant one too.
Start your 2 votes.
Finn.
Yeah,
Two votes from Finn.
I'll go 2 votes to Shane Winter. I think he played a stellar performance in the midfield, especially in the first half. Did well distributing the balls to the wingers and led the attack most of the time. And then 1 point to myself. 1 point to 1 point to Lawrence Chan. I think he played really well in the centre back next to Darren, stopped most attacks and saved us as well.
All right, Robbie, 3-2-1s for the first team yourself on the weekend.
3 votes to Lawrence Chan. I think he played a stellar game and he put his body on the line where it needs to be and really helped the boys. 2 points I'll give to Noel Armstrong. I thought he had a fantastic game and really got his work rate up and worked hard and got the goal he deserved as well. And 1 point to Finn Marshall. I think scoring that goal really kick-started the boys and obviously the result proved it.
Thank you, Rob. All right, and myself, to wrap it up, 3 votes from myself going to Noel Armstrong, who seems to be the flavour of the month at the moment at the club. He has
Flavour.
Yeah, he has. He's come out of nowhere to be the flavour, Rob, and he's been phenomenal in the last month.
He certainly has.
2 votes from myself go to Lawrence Chan. Thought he put his body on the line, especially that tackle he made at the end when that midfield error happened and the ball sprayed out. They were clean through on goal, and that tackle, Lawrence Chan, just natural instinct to come across and get rid of that. And 1 vote from myself on the weekend goes to Shane Winter. Thought he was excellent in the midfield. Thought he held the ball up well. Thought he was hard to be tackled, which at times was what we needed just to slow things down, especially at 2-1 up. They couldn't dispossess him. So that's definitely what we needed. And that wraps up our 3-2-1s for the A-Grade Pumas podcast Player of the Year for the game against Elizabeth Grove. The win against Elizabeth Grove, boys. We are on the board, 6 points on the board. And we're coming. We're staying up, hopefully. That's the plan, to stay up. Sterling District at home is going to be massive. All right, tonight, no mailbag. We're going to use this segment to discuss something that's happening important, very important to a lot of people, but very important to us sitting in the car tonight. August 17th, boys. Massive day.
Massive day for the club as well.
For those of you that don't know, Jai Tatani's testimonial match. Raising all the funds we can to help him and his family in the best ways possible. I'm sure it's going to be an insanely busy day for Thomas Turner Reserve. It's going to be a really emotional, really positive day for the club. And it's going to be enjoyed by all. Free barbecue from 12 p.m. Any money over the bar, all proceeds going back to Jai and his family for whatever they may need for. And kickoff is at 1 p.m. of the actual testimonial match. Does anyone want to add anything?
Yeah, I want to say that the defensive lineup for the players that are past are going to be pretty fucking scary for the present. Let's go, Jimmy.
James Dimopoulos in the past players. If he wasn't a snake, he'd be playing for the present.
Oh, imagine.
James Dimopoulos, centre-back. James Carabas, centre-back. Or James Carabas, centre-back. James Dimopoulos, sweeper. Either way.
See, those two playing centre-back next to each other might have a little bit of a shock when the strike partnership of the present Pumas players of Finn Marshall and Cooper Martin are running at them at full pelt.
Julian Ruggieri on the left, apparently. Robbie
Antonelli behind the bar. It's going to be a phenomenal day at Thomas Turner Reserve.
You're not wrong.
It's going to be something else. Look, I can't stress enough. Get down there, have a beer, put your hand in your pocket, do whatever you can to help. There'll be plenty of opportunities, raffles, auctions, whatever, all sorts of things for you to be able to buy, put your money towards, and obviously towards a brilliant cause. We also have a GoFundMe
We do.
You'll be able to look up Jai Tatani on GoFundMe if you want to donate to that in any cause. James, have we got an update on what we're looking at on that GoFundMe with how much money the community's managed to raise for Jai?
$24,477.
$24,477. Well done, boys. I know a lot of the Pumas players have put their hand in their pocket and helped out towards that, and not just the Pumas players, just some incredible people in the community, some people in the Cream On community as well.
Cream on, fellas.
Cream
Thank
on,
you for your
boys.
donations.
Thank you very much. Anyway, just touching base on that testimonial to finish us off the last little segment of the night. The That's Amore question of the week. We love it here at the Pumas.
I'll get Corey to let this one go.
We won't let Corey let this one rip. Unfortunately. Well, before we do get to that, I'm just gonna hold on. We'll go 2 more segments. We'll introduce Adam Fedornak's genius idea.
Oh, you beauty.
Jai's 1%ers. So everyone in the car, think of a 1%er that you saw on the weekend. I'll start us off. Lawrence Chan's last ditch tackle. The ball was gone. The work rate just to get it back. It was to get there, to make that challenge, to win us that, keep us in front in that game. That's the kind of 1%er we want to see from Jai.
I reckon 1%er. If you're speaking about them, you've got to add Nick Levithius in there.
Nick Levithius, Corey, you're 1%er?
Tell you what,
What example of that have you got for us?
his whole game is just 1%er.
This whole game? Just effort?
Oh, he's brilliant.
Just works where no one expects you to.
Not wrong.
Robbie, you got a 1%er for us?
Yeah, Matt Willisey.
Matt
Always
Willisey.
putting his body on the line, just going in hard, and
Everything he does is for the team.
exactly right.
James?
My 1%er would be Nick Levithius in the last minute, holding it up in that corner flag area, taking on about 3 of them. Go, Nick.
The Greek god in Valley View. He's getting a lot of love at the moment. Finn, a 1%er.
This is
Um,
Sparta.
1%, I'd say Shane Winter. A couple of times had the ball, was about to play it, and
That'd
you
be
got
2%.
tackled. Corey said Nick Levithius whole game. So
He's a fucking top
That's
player.
only
Anyway,
9%.
Shane Winter on 1%.
getting tackled, losing the ball, and then getting it back and playing the ball, keeping the attack going.
Just not stopping. Loves a good 1%er, and that was Jai's 1%ers for Adam Fedornak this week. Adam, great introductory segment, mate.
There's also another
Bit
segment,
clever, Adam.
Marzi's muck-ups,
Marzi's
and that's when
muck-ups.
Marzi says something
Go the Pumas.
remotely fucking stupid, and we address that on the podcast. That'll be there in the future.
That'll be there in the future. To come for next week, Marzi's muck-ups. There we go. Have your ears primed and ready, boys. And just to finish, so that's a more question of the day. Touching on the testimonial, last week we had a discussion of what does the Pumas spirit mean to you. We'll stick with the emotional level in the lead up to Jai's testimonial game. That's a more question of the week. As a Pumas player or a member of the wider Pumas community, what impact has Jai Tatani had on you over the time at the club? I remember my first training session at the Pumas, I knew absolutely nobody. And the first person to put their hand out, shake my hand, say hello to me was Jai. And he's just that kind of guy. Just absolutely inclusive in everything. And just brilliant. So, do you guys have anything? Anything that... How Jai Tatani's impacted you?
Jai's the only coach that can keep me grounded as a player.
Just has a way with him.
Absolutely.
Way with words. He does.
I don't need to say any more than that.
Nothing more inspirational than a Jai Tatani pre-game speech or a Jai Tatani post-game happy and you know it. Alright, anyone else? Anything they want to add before we wrap it up tonight?
Carried me in Fortnite a couple of times.
Carried you in Fortnite a couple of times.
Yeah.
Just his presence.
Thanks, Robbie.
There we go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was another instalment of the Pumas podcast. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Finn. Thanks to my co-host, James Dimopoulos. I have been your host, Cooper Martin, and that was the Pumas podcast. Thank you. Good night.